Here's a tour of my $250,000 gym. Yeah, I've done one of these before. I think I called it $1 million gym last time. But, you know, now suddenly someone else is talking about their $250,000 gym, and people are messaging me about it and sharing it with me, and I thought I'd touch on this subject again. Let me tell you about my $250,000 gym. Why is it $250,000? Do I actually have $250,000? No, I don't have $250,000. I haven't had $250,000 in my whole fucking life. My gym has a squat rack in it, the cheapest one that Rogue makes. I have the cheapest bar that Rogue sells. I have one set of bumper plates. I have this Bowflex behind me. Yes, it's a Bowflex. I picked that up because someone was getting rid of it. You know what the price tag is on that? Free. Yeah, it was a broken Bowflex, and they were like, I'm getting rid of this thing. Anyone that wants it can have it. I found it on like Facebook Marketplace, and someone was just like, if you can come pick it up, it's yours. So got a Bowflex, fixed it, and now I can use it for things like leg extensions and lat pull downs. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't do 100% of the different things you should be able to do with a Bowflex, but I don't fucking care. I just wanted it to be able to use as a rehab tool for leg extensions and knee stuff. So to me, that's awesome. And then I have a broken Bowflex tread climber. Price tag on that, free. Doesn't work. That's okay. I use it as a dead mill. Yeah, because it's Duluth, and in Duluth, it snows. So guess what? I'm not going to push a sled on my basement floor. It's all of 15 feet, and it's concrete. So I can't push a sled on that. Can't pull a sled on that either. So what you do, you get a broken treadmill that someone's getting rid of because it's broken, and that's my $250,000 gym. Yeah, I got a barbell. I got this bench here too. It's a Weider Club 2C. What is it? Weider Club C240 is what it is. I have no idea what that bench costs. It was here. My wife had it years ago. I have no idea what she paid for it. I bet it's $100 at Walmart. It is a cheap, rickety bench. So, got the cheapest barbell that Rogue makes. Got the cheapest squat rack that Rogue makes. Got the cheapest set of bumper plates I could find on Rogue. Got a broken Bowflex that at least lets me do leg extensions and lat pull downs, and a broken Bowflex tread climber. Oh, and I have an Airdyne that someone was getting rid of as well. You can find one on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. People are just getting rid of their Airdyne. Like, hey, if you can come pick this up, it's yours. That's my $250,000 gym. Why is it $250,000? Because I said it's worth $250,000. So if you want my gym, I'll sell it to you. I'll sell you all the equipment I have in my basement here for $250,000. Now, why am I sharing this with you? This seems stupid. Like, aren't you impressed at all the fancy equipment I have? And this is the point that I have to make to you. And I'm going to use an analogy here. I see these guys that spend tons of money on their guns. You bought an M4 platform, you got fucking optics on it, you got night vision goggles, you got whatever the fuck you have. You got a suppressor on it. Oh, you know, you got all these fancy things. And you still can't put rounds on target. You know, if you can't put rounds on target with iron sights, don't even waste your time. This is so dumb to me. I don't own any guns. You wanna know why I don't own guns? Because if shit hits the fan, there'll be a whole bunch of them on the ground. You just pick one up. And I'm confident enough that I can pick up something off the ground and fire it with iron sights and put rounds on target. I'll fire that first round, I'll see where it goes, and I'll make it the second round hit, okay? I had a staff sergeant teach me that years ago. He explained to me, your first shot, you figure out where it's going. Your second shot, you should be able to compensate for whatever is wrong with the sights and put that second round on target. Your second round should always be on target. So if you understand shooting and you know the fundamentals of shooting, you can always put the second round on target. I spent a very long time firing around 1,000 rounds a day. I got pretty comfortable with it. That has nothing to do with lifting weights, does it, right? Or does it? It does. Because the bottom line is that the fundamentals are still the goddamn fundamentals. So if you can't get big and jacked and strong using a barbell, you probably don't know a whole lot about training. Do you think Arthur Saxon needed to have a whole bunch of machines? Do you think Eugene Sandow needed a bunch of machines? Bobby Pandora, Paul Anderson, Doug Hepburn, Tommy Kono. That's interesting. So these guys who are really fucking strong got really fucking strong using a barbell. Do you think Lasha does a lot of machine work? How about Klokov? Think he does a lot of machine work? What do you figure? Vardanyan is probably the greatest weightlifter of all time. You could go ahead and debate that Name is better, because, you know, Name certainly has a better Sinclair. But, you know, Yuri Vardanyan is probably the greatest weightlifter of all time. Do you think he did a lot of machine work? No? Ed Cohn, Doug Furness, Doug Young. Do you think they did a lot of machine work? So they got really strong using barbells, and maybe dumbbells too, but free weights. If you understand the fundamentals of training and you understand the basics of training, a barbell is more than you need. In fact, I'm very confident, extremely confident, that given my level of ability, okay, and I think I'm just average, I will never reach a point where a barbell isn't enough for me. Now, I may switch to machines later on because machines are easier. There's no debate there. I'd certainly much rather do leg extensions and hack squats and pendulum squats than doing heavy barbell back squats and barbell front squats, okay? But in terms of your developing strength and size and everything like that, take a look around all the great bodybuilders out there. They may do machines and all this stuff now. How did they build their mass in the beginning? You know. What's the answer? It's power building. What we call power building. They did basic barbell movements. You look at Steve Kuklo, squatting, you know, 500 pounds for a set of 20. Gosh, you'd have some pretty big fucking legs. You know, guys are squatting 405 pounds for sets of 20, multiple sets of 20. If you do 10 sets of 10 with 405, you probably have pretty good legs. Yeah. And if you can bench 315 for 10 sets of 10, you probably have a pretty well-developed upper body there. You know, I haven't seen too many guys that deadlift 600 pounds that don't have very well-developed posterior chains. Don't get me wrong. You might want to do a whole bunch of this bodybuilding type stuff, this isolation work to work on the peak of your biceps so it looks a certain way on stage. But for those of us who are just trying to get stronger and trying to get bigger, okay, a barbell is what you need. And the rest of it comes down to just you. It's you. What do you have up here? How many books have you read? How many lectures have you sat through? How many presentations have you sat through? How many seminars have you gone to? How many coaches did you go and intern under? How many unpaid internships did you do? How much did you travel around the country? I've been everywhere. Boston, San Francisco, San Ramon, Pleasanton, Balboa, San Diego, Tampa, Bristol, Virginia, Chicago, Minneapolis, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New York City, Hoboken. I have been Virginia Beach. Like the list just goes on forever. I've gone to all these different seminars, all these different gyms, all these different coaches. I learned more in one conversation with Buddy Morris at Pitt. I was at Pitt. And I sat down with Buddy one day and just talked to Buddy. I learned more in that 1 hour conversation with Buddy than I learned doing an internship for another individual who doesn't need their name for 3 months. But what's important here is that I kept talking to different people and I kept learning. You know, a single conversation with Cal Dietz is worth a 3-month internship with another individual. Who you talk to matters. Jesse Burdick taught me how to bench press. Jesse Burdick taught me how to bench press. Do you think that was valuable? Yeah, you better bet your ass that was valuable. My point to you is this. It's not about the equipment. You would think it is, but it isn't. It's about you. Same thing with a car. I can hand you the keys to a Ferrari. Doesn't mean you can drive it. You ever drive a Porsche? Porsche 911 Turbo. The clutch is really, really sensitive. If you don't know how to drive it, that car is worthless to you. You're not going to get anything out of it. I don't care. That might be the most perfectly engineered car ever made. But if you don't know how to drive it, fuck it. It doesn't mean anything. I'll beat you in a Honda Civic. Not even a souped up Honda Civic. Just a regular stock Honda Civic. I'll beat you in that if you don't know how to drive the clutch on a Porsche 911 Turbo. That's interesting. The same thing is true of everything. You could have the cheapest guitar, or you could have the most expensive guitar. And if you don't know how to play guitar, it doesn't fucking matter. I was very fortunate. I met Dennis Cameron, who played with Chicago, and Trey Anastasio. He bought this cheap-ass guitar. I feel like it cost him $300. He played it beautifully, and it sounded amazing. Meanwhile, I've met people that have a fucking Gibson Hummingbird, and they can't play for shit. It sounds awful. So you've got a $300 guitar versus a $2,000 guitar, and what's the difference? Oh, the guy playing it. Okay? Recently, I sat down and played a Bosendorfer. It's a very nice piano. Very, very nice piano. I'll probably never own one. Okay? I own a Story & Clark. Sounds the same when I play it. Yeah. Sorry, it's not all that amazing. It's beautiful. The Bosendorfer is beautiful. It sounds real pretty, you know, and it's in tune, so it sounds nice. But you know, I am not a virtuoso or anything special. So when I play the Bosendorfer, it sounds roughly the same as when I play a Story & Clark. So, what is that? $100,000 piano? Doesn't sound all that much better than my Story & Clark. You buy $250,000 worth of gym equipment and you train like a bitch, you're not going to go anywhere. It doesn't matter. It's a waste of money for you. Buy a barbell, get really fucking good at it. That's it. Sorry. I know, you'd like to hear some other story, like there's some secret piece of equipment that'll turn you into the next fucking, you know, Bo Jackson, but it won't. Go get your flywheel, you know, get your Omega Wave, all that shit like that. It's not going to turn you into a pro athlete. You got to master the basics, and if you need $250,000 worth of equipment to, you know, I don't know, entertain yourself, that's fine. That's a valid reason. Maybe you just get bored. But for the rest of us, what you actually need, you actually just need a fucking barbell.